Hey, what's up everyone, it's Patrick, and welcome to my guide to the quest Contact on RuneScape 3. You do this on old school RuneScape, I have a guide for that as well, link description below. On screen right now is everything you need to prepare yourself for this quest. The most important things on here are a light source, all that text after that are just different types of light sources you can use, and you only need to bring one. They're listed in order from best to worst, just bring whatever you got, and you need stuff for a potentially tough boss fight. It's actually not that hard with the right setup, you don't even need good stats. I recommend magic though, because the boss in this quest is weak to magic, and you block most of the damage with 40 plus prayer for protect from missiles or range, but you'll still need some food. I would also recommend anti-poison because the enemy can poison you for a lot actually. The teleports are obviously just to get around for the quest, but I recommend multiple emergency teleports on top of that in case you need to escape from dangerous enemies in this quest. This video is brought to you by the awesome members of my Patreon. If you want access to some exclusive perks, check out the link in the description below. Enjoy the video, everyone. To start the quest, head to the building in Sophanem marked by yellow marker on this map. The Sophanem Slayer Dungeon teleport will get you the closest to this building, but you can also use the Pharaoh Scepter to teleport to Pyramid Plunder, which is the first option on it. It does teleport you inside the pyramid, so just exit through the doorway to be in the city, or finally use a Potent in each teleport and take the magic carpet from there. Speak to the High Priest to accept the quest and get a cutscene. Continue the dialogue after cutscene and select option 5. Is there any way into Menaphos from below? Go to the building in the northeast corner of Sophanem. Speak to Jax outside and you can ignore chat options. Enter the building and climb down the ladder in the southeast corner. You might want to watch me do this before proceeding yourself, as this part is dangerous, but make sure your light source is lit. Climb down the trapdoor next to the ladder, then choose proceed and finish the dialogue to actually get down there. I'm going to speed this up just so you can get a quick rundown of what's going on down here and how everything works. Then I'll throw up a map of the area showing you where to go. If you want to just skip to the map, I'll throw up a timestamp on screen. You want to make sure your light source is lit the entire time. Turn on protect from magic, as that's what the majority of the enemies you encounter here use, and turn off auto retaliate. You don't need to attack anything here, and also being attacked might make you run somewhere you don't want to. This is a maze after all, which is tricky in itself, but also there are traps you have to avoid. The map I'm going to put up later does show you where the traps are, but it won't show you what they look like or how to avoid them. That's what this part's for. So first, you got floor traps where parts of the ground are darker and there's weird markings on it. Click on the weird markings to attempt to avoid it. It won't always work, but worst case scenario, you just take some damage. You then have these wall crusher traps, which you probably remember these from the quest Ictalarn's Little Helper. Obviously, just don't stand in front of it to avoid getting hit by them. There are these other kind of wall traps where once again the area is darker and the walls look a bit off. Same idea as the floor trap, except you attempt to avoid it by clicking on the wall instead of the floor. There's a trap called a sand pit here. It's one specific tile of the ground that looks a little different from the others. If you step on this, the ground will crack open and a scarab swarm will come out and attack you. Just try not to step on this or just run away from the swarm. And finally, there are scarab traps. These are indicated by a scarab symbol on the wall, which isn't so obvious if you don't have your camera pointed the right way. You can't even see it in my gameplay, so I'm throwing up a separate image on screen. All these traps will be highlighted on the map I'm showing you. There will be two that you encounter on the path that you'll take. The first one in this hallway, it will be on the west wall, so run along the east wall as you're heading south. The second one will be somewhere along the south wall, the last hallway you have to go through near the end of the dungeon, so run along the north wall. This is honestly the worst trap because what happens is if you get caught in it, you fall down to a lower level. Your light source will go out and you'll get ambushed by a bunch of enemies that can collectively very easily kill you. There are ladders you can climb to get out of there, but I would recommend just quickly teleporting out to safety and trying to do the whole thing again instead, because you have to survive the attacking enemies trying to get to the ladder, and when you climb out, it will put you in some random part of the dungeon and you have to find your way back. I just wouldn't recommend it. And just to show you, when you reach the end, just climb down the ladder and you're good. Here's the map of the maze, just follow the red path. Feel free to pause if you need it, as I'm moving on to the next part now. Once you're down here, just follow the path. You don't have to worry about any traps or enemies. You need one free inventory space. Search the body near the end to receive a parchment in your inventory and read it. Close out of it and run all the way west. Speak to Mesa on the other side of the pit and select options 2 and 4. Go to the Outcrid Palace. You can use the Lodestone, Amulet of Glory to Outcrid, or Ring of Dueling to Het's Oasis. I'm sure most people have this Lodestone unlocked, but you should just use whatever teleport just to get out of here, even if you don't, because otherwise you're actually going to have to run through a dungeon again. Speak to Osmond, then select options 2, 1, 3. By the way, if you need more combat supplies, anti-poison, food, teleports, whatever, now would be a great time to get it, as the bank is right here. When you're ready, go to the area outside of Sophonem so you can teleport there and exit the city. Find Osmond outside and speak to him. Select option 3, I know of a secret entrance to the north. You'll go through some dialogue, just wait until you're free to move again. Once that's over, enter a city and go to the building in the northeast corner. Climb down the ladder, then the trapdoor. Here's the map of the maze again. Do not climb down the ladder yet. When you reach the end, it'll throw you into a fight and you may not be ready yet. Other than that, just make sure to keep your light source lit and turn on Protect from Magic. Feel free to pause if you need it, as I'm moving on to the next part now. As I said earlier, if you climb down this ladder, you get into a fight. I would suggest watching the video first. You want to turn on Protect from missiles or range, and you probably want to set your magic spell before climbing down. When you climb down, you get a cutscene first. You walk through a path, then the fight begins. You want to attack the giant scarab in the big room to lure it, then run over to where you found the body, but head a little bit further down into the path so the giant scarab walk towards you until it can't anymore and gets stuck, but you can do it wherever it's convenient. So the giant scarab uses both melee and range attacks, so safe spotting will stop the melee attacks, and Protect from missiles help with the range attacks. So make sure you keep your prayer up. From here, you can just attack from a distance. You still need to watch your HP, as you won't be completely invincible. You can still be poisoned, so of course take your anti-poison if that happens. It can take out your light source, so make sure that stays lit. It can also spawn mages and riders that attack you. I wouldn't try to fight them because they just keep spawning, and the longer you drag out this fight, the more of them will spawn, which is worse. So in my opinion, I think you should just tank the hits. If you get a rider and somehow you can get it out of melee distance so that you can only use range attacks, that would be great since you're already protecting against that. But once again, I wouldn't do anything and drag the fight out. Anyways, climb down the ladder to begin the fight when you're ready. Pick up the Cuirass off the ground around where the giant scarab was. Finish the conversation with Osmond after the fight, or just speak to him. Go back to the High Priest in Sophonem, teleport there, or just teleport out, or else you have to run through a maze again. When you get to Sophonem, speak to the High Priest. One of the rewards for this quest is a combat lamp that grants XP to a combat skill of your choice. You can use it twice for 7,000 XP each. Your summoning has to be at least level 30, but there are no requirements for everything else. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for future videos to come if you haven't already. There are also links in the description below for my Patreon, donation link, Twitter, and Discord where you can interact with me. Donations can also be made directly through YouTube now with thanks option near the like button below the video. Catch you later. Peace.